Right now at 5, MoDOT crews on I-44 remove an overhead sign after a semi-truck crashes into it.
And we've got another hot and muggy day and maybe even a couple of pop-up storms. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a Miami, Oklahoma author won't let anything stand in the way of achieving his dreams.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It's now Wednesday, August the 28th, and I woke up this morning and was extraordinarily disappointed to learn it was only Wednesday for some reason. It's not been a bad week or anything. It's just for some reason it felt like it should at least be Thursday.
Maybe it's been the heat.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. It really starts to wear you down after a while.
Really does.
I mean, heat makes you tired. When I was in school, at the high school, they kept the air on year round because the heat makes you tired.
Yes.
High school kids, we like to sleep about as often as cats do. So
yeah.
You got to stay awake somehow, and this heat does not help with that.
It does not.
The good news is, again, no heat advisories out there again today. Still going to be hot, though, but relief on the way down the road. Let's first talk about what we're expecting for today with a live look from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. We're looking pretty good this morning. Got a few clouds out there. Otherwise, not a bad start to the day at all. Same from our camera at 7th and Range Line in Joplin. Looking good as we get this Wednesday underway, and we'll head down south to the MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line. Traffic moving right along out there this morning. On the future track, you can see we're going to have those partly cloudy skies, and some of you may even have periods of clear skies as well. So we're looking at mostly clear to partly cloudy. And then, as we mentioned yesterday, still showing up today, as we head into the afternoon, really between, say, 2 and 7, we could see an isolated pop-up shower or thunderstorm. But again, these will be very isolated. The majority of us are going to remain dry. We're sitting at 73 in Joplin, 70 in Pittsburgh. So despite the heat the last couple of days, our overnight lows, while they're still above normal for most of us, have certainly improved a bit over the last couple of days. In fact, we do have 68, Iola 69, Chautauqua and Parsons, as well as Anderson 68 and Jay. So we've got some upper 60s up there and some low 70s. Not nearly as warm as we were yesterday morning either. Remember, Yates Center, Iola spent a good portion of the morning in the upper 70s. So you all are almost 10 degrees cooler this morning than where you were this time yesterday. Kids getting on the bus, about 71. Winds will be calm. We'll have those partly cloudy skies. And again, maybe an isolated shower storm this afternoon. Otherwise hot, partly cloudy. 94 when the bus brings those kids home. Heading through today, it's really been easy to update the weather graphics because there hasn't been much change. So we're going to go right back to about the mid-90s, maybe a stray shower storm. And those heat index values could still approach about 100 degrees out there. So do keep that in mind. We still have at least one more day of uncomfortable weather to get through before we have some big changes on the horizon. We'll go over those details in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Interstate 44 has fully reopened to traffic after a fatal crash forced a shutdown yesterday. Westbound traffic was backed up for miles after a semi-truck hit the post of an overhead sign at the Range Line exit just before 7 yesterday morning. The post was bent and the sign was left leaning over the road. Westbound travelers had to use alternate routes while a crew removed the sign and cleaned up debris.
This was a complicated accident just because we had a large sign that was partially down, that was a hazard for the rescuers and first responders that we had to deal with. There was just a lot of different things, the traffic that we were trying to control.
No word yet on the identity of the person killed in the crash. Missouri Planned Parenthoods are fighting back against a new law to kick them off the federal Medicaid health insurance program. The organization filed legal challenges to the law with the Missouri Administrative Hearing Commission. Now, the law bans Medicaid funding from going to Planned Parenthood, which could reimburse them for services to low-income patients such as pap smears and cancer screenings. Arkansas also has a law banning Medicaid funding for the organization. The legal fight connected to the deadly Branson ride at the Ducks boat accident will continue, at least for now. Captain Kenneth Scott McKee and two supervisors, Curtis Lanham and Charles Balstell, are facing 63 criminal charges. There's been several back and forth challenges in the case since the tragedy on Table Rock Lake in 2018 that drowned 17 people. Yesterday, a hearing was scheduled for October 11th to discuss the defense's motion to dismiss. The attorney is arguing the state attorney general has, quote, exceeded its authority to prosecute. If that motion is dismissed, a preliminary hearing will happen in March of next year. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. The Carthage City Council rejects a request to audit the Carthage Water and Electric Plant. The audit request was turned down in a 6-1 vote. Now, Council member Alan Snow believes the call for an audit on CWEP casts doubt on the organization and called for it to be rejected. Council member Tiffany Cosi disagreed with the audit because she believes it would cost too much.
It's a public utility, so it's a city-owned utility. We are connected with budgets and that kind of thing. So that's the city council's responsibility to make sure that everything is the way it needs to be.
Mayor Rife says the audit was requested by Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Well, in a story of perseverance, a young man in Miami, Oklahoma with Asperger's syndrome is not letting his diagnosis hold him back. He's become a published author after years of hard work. KOAM's Samantha Walker sat down with him to learn about what pushed him to follow his passion.
I'm using my diagnosis to see the world differently than what most people would see.
Maverick Manning says he's enjoyed writing for years. When he was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism, his family was told that he would likely struggle with reading comprehension. But that hasn't stopped Maverick from writing. In fact, he believes his diagnosis makes him better.
So in my take on the Asperger's, that it doesn't make you stupid. It makes you smarter than other people because you see the world different.
Maverick published his first book this year, titled The Rabbit's Creed Death Warrant. He worked hard on writing the book for 8 years, never giving up on his dreams of being an author, and he's excited to share it with others.
It feels like I'm cooking for someone, and everybody who buys this book and they enjoy it, like it's a meal.
His perseverance is something he learned from his mother, Maverick's biggest supporter.
He wants to be a writer. He could be a writer. Like I said, I always told him, don't put limitations on yourself. You could do whatever you achieve or want to achieve if you put your will and your passion behind it.
Maverick says he appreciates all the support he has received from others, especially his family.
It's like having an army on your back when you go to war.
He's not stopping after just one book. Maverick is already writing his next work, and he says he can see himself writing for years to come.
I can see myself work all the way up till I'm old and wrinkly.
Reporting in Miami, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
You can learn where to find Manning's book on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. A former Joplin Eagle makes the 53-man roster for the New York Jets. We have the latest. Plus, IKEA is testing out a way for people to buy and sell its used furniture to each other. And we have a hot and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, the NFL's 53-man roster deadline was yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock Central Time. All 32 teams needed to cut their rosters down to 53 from the preseason total of 90. Several players with ties to the four states were right on the border of making the regular season squad. Rico Payton, who spent 4 seasons with Pitt State, has reportedly made the New Orleans Saints 53-man roster. He turned heads in the preseason after going undrafted back in April. Payton had 8 tackles, a sack, and 4 pass breakups in 3 preseason games with New Orleans. He joins Dallas Flowers of the Indianapolis Colts as the only Gorilla alumni to make a 53-man roster this season. More good news for Joplin High School alum Isaiah Davis. The rookie running back makes the Jets 53-man roster. The team announced this yesterday afternoon. Davis was selected by New York with the 173rd overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Back in April, he was the Gatorade Player of the Year for Missouri as a senior with Joplin in 2019. Missouri Southern football plays its first game of the 2024 season on the road at Midwestern State this Thursday night. The Lions released their 2-deep depth chart. Here are the expected offensive starters for the Lions in their first game. No surprise, we're going to see Luke Sampson and Joplin High School alum Nathan Glades in the backfield. Halim Dixon-King, a transfer from Delaware State, and Draper Parker, who only played 3 games a year ago, led the way at wide receiver. No surprise to see all MIAA tight end Deontay Campbell at the tight end position. Lions will be much younger on defense. Defensive end Salama Fatoa missed most of last season with an injury, but he returns to anchor the defensive line in 2024. Colton Bass, Zach Bergman, and Peyton McKee round out the linebacker room. Lions don't have a ton of experience at defensive back. Jordan Ledette played 11 games for the Lions a year ago, but Stephen Black, Mason Rumsey, and Chris Williams have played a combined 4 games for MSSU entering Thursday. As you see, the Mid-America League announced its All-2024 All-Star team yesterday afternoon. Several members of the Joplin Outlaws are represented. St. Louis native C.J. Sapicki is the left fielder on the All-Star team. This is after he was also named playoff MVP. Drake Lee from Central Oklahoma is named the All-Star catcher. Southeast Arkansas sophomore Eric Hyken is one of 2 relief pitchers in the league to receive All-Star honors. Carl Junction native and current Pittsburgh State Gorilla Lucas Van Landuit is one of 4 starting pitchers named to the All-Star team. He's joined by Xavier Fossbender from Missouri Baptist. He pitched as well as playing in the field, but Fossbender is an all-star as a starting pitcher. Carl Junction hosted a volleyball jamboree last night. We're going to start with Webb City taking on Mount Vernon. Cardinals up on the Mountaineers, who are looking to claw back, but Adeline Maxwell slams it down. Cardinals take that match 2-1. Later on, a district championship rematch, Lady Bulldogs against the Cardinals. It's a long rally, but Jaylee Van Beesler finishes it to put the Cardinals up 1-0. Here come the Bulldogs. Nice save by Jocelyn Wingert. Keeps CJ alive, and Cardinals put a little too much power on it, and the ball sails out. The final set, the Bulldogs serve, returned by Webb City, but a big block from CJ. Jaden Howard bumps it to Deshae Berge, and she calls game. Carl Junction makes defeats the Cardinals 2-1. Bulldogs on the road next Tuesday to take on Kickapoo, while the Cardinals hit the road to Clever. Still to come, the Biden administration announces the expansion of material home visit programs, and another check of that forecast and when that relief gets here when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:18 now on this Wednesday morning here in the 4 states, halfway through the work week. I really honestly thought it was Thursday when I woke up. So the good news is, though, tomorrow is Thursday, and tomorrow is the last day of uncomfortable temperatures for a little while. Also, our camera downtown Joplin on the Cornell Complex looking pretty good this morning. Same from our camera at 7th and Range Line in Joplin. We'll head a little further south to the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line. Got folks out starting their day a little early. Now, you guys, if you join us regularly, you know there's usually not this much traffic out there at 5 o'clock in the morning, but people very excited apparently that it is Wednesday. KDOT camera 69 Kansas Crossing also looking pretty good this morning as well. So let's talk what we've got in terms of rain chances and changes on the way, because there's some of that happening. Today we're looking at mostly clear to partly cloudy skies, and as we head into the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, we get that daytime heating. We could start to see an opportunity for an isolated shower or storm. Majority of us will remain dry, but nonetheless, there is that chance of a pop-up shower or storm. Well, mostly clear skies overnight tonight. We're also hot again today. We'll be hot again tomorrow, as I mentioned. And now to Thursday is one of those interesting situations because it's going to be hot and muggy ahead of this front. We'll have an opportunity earlier in the day for some pop-up showers or thunderstorms across the area from the daytime heating. That will be completely unrelated to the cold front that's going to roll in later. And here comes that cold front overnight and into the early morning hours on our Friday. We start to see shower and thunderstorm chances increasing across the area. And on Friday, it's going to be on again, off again storms. So it will not necessarily rain all day on Friday, but we're going to have chances for showers and storms throughout the entire day on our Friday. As we head into the afternoon and the evening hours, it'll be early Saturday, and we might even still have a few more showers and storms on our Saturday. Heat risk map again, I'm really enjoying showing it because once we get toward the end of it, it looks great. We still have that moderate to even some major heat risk out there today and again tomorrow because we could still see those heat index values get close to 100. By Friday, between the storms, the cloud cover, and everything else, it's going to be a warm day, but it is going to be a minor heat risk for us, and that will be the case again on Saturday and on Sunday. And then we head into our Monday. Look at that. There's just little slivers of minor heat risks. The bulk of the area, little to no risk. And we go into Tuesday, and aside from a couple of maybe little spots of some minor heat risk, we're all in the little to no risk zone by Tuesday of next week. So relief is certainly on the way. We're at 73 in Joplin right now. The breeze is out of the south at about 3 miles an hour. Temperatures this morning were all cooler than where we were yesterday, especially up north. Remember, Iola Yates Center, you guys were pushing pretty close to 80 degrees at this time yesterday. You're considerably cooler. We do have some upper 60s, otherwise low 70s to start the day. So some of you right about normal, others a little bit above that. Partly cloudy skies through the morning, upper 80s once again by 11 o'clock. Our highs today, mid-90s out there, falling back into the 70s again tonight, mid-90s on our Thursday. And then as we head into the Labor Day weekend, we have thunderstorm chances again Friday and Saturday. Temperatures, though, looking much better as we hang out in the mid-80s heading through the weekend and next week. More rain chances toward the end of next week. That's a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. The Biden administration is working to expand maternal and early childhood care. It's pumping $440 million into the maternal, infant, and early childhood home visiting program. Now, the program brings nurses, healthcare workers, and social workers to homes of new moms to help with breastfeeding and postpartum care. 167,000 people currently participate, and the added funding will expand services to another 30,000 people. The administration is also sending $118 million to the CDC to help identify and prevent pregnancy-related deaths. Well, Eli Lilly says starter doses of the weight loss drug Zepbound are now available in single-dose vials. The company says the move will significantly expand supply as it sees continued high demand. Instead of a preloaded injector pen, patients will use a syringe to draw out medicine. Tirzepatide is the active ingredient in Zepbound and Mounjaro, and part of a new class of medications used to treat obesity and diabetes that have skyrocketed in popularity. That, however, has driven shortages and led some people to use versions made by compounding pharmacies. The new vials from Eli Lilly will be available exclusively to people who pay out of pocket through Lilly Direct. That's a company platform that helps coordinate telehealth services and fill prescriptions for patients. Well, it's no secret that the COVID-19 pandemic led to a dip in routine childhood vaccinations. Overall, vaccination coverage among teens eligible for free shots has stabilized, according to the CDC. But a new report from the agency shows a troubling trend for the vaccine that protects against HPV. Mandy Gaither has a look at the data and explains why experts are concerned.
Every year in the U.S., nearly 37,000 people are estimated to be diagnosed with a cancer caused by an HPV infection.
In some cases, this virus is the body just clears it on its own, but not always.
HPV can cause 6 types of cancer: anal, cervical, throat, penile, vaginal, and cancer of the vulva. But the CDC says HPV vaccination could prevent more than 90% of these cancers from ever developing.
As pediatricians, we are working to encourage parents to vaccinate their children against HPV because we know this is so important for their futures.
Dr. Caroline Weingart with Nationwide Children's Hospital says children's bodies respond best to the vaccine. It's recommended for preteens at 11 or 12 years old, but can be started as early as age 9. However, a CDC report finds HPV vaccination coverage has not improved since the pandemic. Of those eligible to receive this recommended vaccine at no cost, children born in 2010 were more than 10 percentage points lower than those born in 2007 when it comes to being up to date with HPV vaccination.
Parents can schedule well checks with their pediatrician and family doctor, and they can ask their doctor about any recommended vaccinations that their child may need and get their children caught up if they are in need of anything.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, the CDC says in addition to getting vaccinations through a pediatrician's office, they can also be administered through clinics at schools, pharmacies, and back-to-school health events. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we got ourselves another hot, muggy day out there. As we've mentioned, though, relief is on the way. Bob and I look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, the city of Pittsburgh cuts the ribbon on a new addiction treatment center.
We got another hot and muggy day across the area, maybe an isolated shower or storm. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, some local preschoolers learn about nature at the George Washington Carver National Monument.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is Wednesday. We're now halfway through the week. That is good news.
Yeah.
The heat makes it a longer week.
Oh my goodness, it does. It just feels like the days go on for forever, especially when it's been so hot.
Yeah, yeah. It takes forever for the sun to set. It takes forever for the evening to get here. It takes forever for the day just to pass because it's so hot.
Yeah.
It's so uncomfortable outside. And I can't even begin to imagine for those who have to work outside.
Right.
I imagine it makes the day drag on even longer, but eventually it's going to stop, which is some good news. But it's not stopping today, unfortunately. It's going to be another hot one out there. Quick look outside from our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. And you can see we're looking pretty good. Do have a few clouds here and there, but nothing too wild or crazy. Looking pretty good from MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline in Joplin as well. Folks getting their Wednesday underway. And as we take a look at the future track today, another one of those days where we could see an isolated pop-up shower or storm by the late afternoon and early evening hours, and you can see they'll be extraordinarily isolated. The majority of us will remain dry, hot, and humid. Now, the good news is no heat advisories, but like yesterday, could still see those heat index values up to about 100 degrees, maybe just a pinch above that. 73 in Joplin, 72 right now in Pittsburgh. And as we look at temperatures around the area, again, some improvements compared to yesterday. And I've mentioned it once or twice already, but Yates Center and Iola have some of the biggest improvements. Both of you were near 80 degrees yesterday at this time, and you're considerably better. We do have some upper 60s out there, so some of us right about average, and the rest of us low 70s, so just a little above where we should be. Kids getting on the bus this morning, we're looking at low 70s, partly cloudy skies, should have a calm wind or a light southerly breeze out there, so nothing too crazy. Heading into the afternoon, though, it's hot again, 94. Again, isolated shower storm, best chances, if we see any at all, will be between roughly 2 and 7. Southwest breeze around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Highs today similar to yesterday, mid-90s out there. Partly cloudy skies outside of those isolated shower chances. And again, the heat index values could be pushing close to 100 today as well. It's going to be hot and muggy once again on our Thursday, but then that's going to be the last hot and muggy day we have for a little while. Details on that in the full forecast in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll check in with you soon, Chris. Well, the Missouri governor and First Lady yesterday hosted a celebration with the one and only Dolly Parton. The event marked the statewide expansion of Parton's Imagination Library, the Entertainers Project, which provides families with 5 books each month from the time a child is born until they reach the age of 5. Governor Parson and his wife attended the event to show their support for the program. Missouri became the 14th state to commit to a statewide program just after Kansas, which signed on last year. And it's never too early to start learning, especially about the planet. Preschoolers from Carthage yesterday learned some lessons about nature at the George Washington Carver National Monument. Now, the monument partnered with Carthage parents as teachers to educate young students on George Washington Carver's curiosity through crafts and storytime activities.
We want them to know that national parks are places for them that were created and established so all people can enjoy them. And whether you are 3 or 93, these are amazing places to visit. So they'll get an inside look at one of the parks right in their backyard.
After the program, students and their families were encouraged to explore the monument's interactive exhibits. Well, the next KOAM flag swap is today. Will be set up at Wesco Home Furnishings in Pittsburgh on 2601 South Broadway from noon to 1:30. You can stop by with your old American flag and swap it for a brand new American-made one. Old flags will be retired according to the U.S. Flag Code. Now be sure and show up early as the number of flags is limited. There's a new facility in Pittsburgh aiming to treat addiction. Crawford County Mental Health Center celebrated the opening of the new addiction treatment center with a ribbon-cutting ceremony yesterday. The new center will have 24-hour bed space for addiction, social detox, and crisis stabilization. It'll also provide continuity of care for individuals to remain under the care of the same clinicians.
Really a push to treat the client rather than the disorder. In addition to that, what we're doing is the same-day access program is being placed in the building next to us. So when people come in for services, it doesn't matter what service they come in for, they can be seen that day and potentially come in and receive some level of care.
The new center is located at the Richard H. Pfeiffer Recovery Complex. Well, a section of this parking lot will soon become a bull riding arena. Bullfest at the lake is coming to the Wolf Creek Park in Grove, Oklahoma. The event busts out of the chute at 4 p.m. this Friday and features bull riding, live music, food trucks, beer gardens, and so much more. For organizers, the event provides a way to expand their capacity for entertainment on and off the lake.
And Grand Lake is always known if you have a boat. We have to reach out broader than that, right? I mean, my vision is only probably 10% of Americans own a boat. That's a small portion of Americans. So if we bring these events where you can see them from the land, you can play with them on the land, you can do things on the land, that brings other people inside that you don't have to have a pontoon boat.
You can head over to KOAMnewsnow.com where we provided more information, including ticket prices and where to purchase them. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An Australian theme park ride malfunctions, causing it to stop and leaves 13 people stranded midair. Plus, an Israeli hostage was freed during a rescue operation in Gaza. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. Now, IKEA is testing out a way for people to buy and sell its used furniture to each other. The retailer is launching a secondhand online marketplace called IKEA Pre-Owned. The online platform is only available in Madrid, Spain, and Oslo, Norway. People can post photos and list the price of the furniture they're selling. Now, the seller has the option to receive payment via a bank transfer or an IKEA gift card. Buyers and sellers will have to set up a time and place to make the exchange. And IKEA says it hopes to launch the online platform globally. Well, 13 people were stuck in midair for 90 minutes. A theme park ride called the Vortex went through a sensor communications fault, causing it to stop. Some unlucky amusement park goers at SeaWorld on Australia's Gold Coast had to wait for help to arrive. Now, officials provided them with water and umbrellas for shade while they waited. The park's engineering team eventually manually lowered the ride to get the passengers off, and there were no injuries reported. The International Atomic Energy Agency chief visited a Russian nuclear power plant yesterday. Growing concerns as Ukraine has gained control of Russian territory. The fighting is leading some to urge caution near the nuclear power plants in the region. As head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog, Rafael Mariano Grossi meets with the manager to scope out the power plant in the Kursk region where Ukraine has seized territory. The Russian Defense Military has said that Ukraine is suffering heavy casualties because of their Kursk operation, but its figures could not be verified. Well, new video shows the moments after an Israeli hostage was freed during a rescue operation from an underground tunnel in Gaza. The news comes as airstrikes pound the Gaza Strip and optimism wanes over a possible ceasefire. Jeff Paul is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
Kidnapped on October 7th, held in Gaza for 326 days, and now back on Israeli soil. Hostage Qaid Farhan al-Qadi, a Muslim and member of Israel's Arab Bedouin community, is a free man. He was abducted while working as a security guard on a kibbutz near the border with Gaza. Elite Israeli commandos carried out a complex and dangerous rescue operation, navigating the vast Hamas underground tunnel system to save a fellow Israeli. A welcome home phone call from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as al-Qadi is evaluated at the hospital. After being held captive for more than 10 months, he'll undergo a series of tests. The hospital says so far, he appears to be in good condition. And clearly a very happy moment for his family, who rushed to the hospital when they got the news.
We prayed for him. My mother prayed for him more. Her prayer reached the sky.
Israel isn't releasing too many details surrounding how they pulled the rescue mission off, but Prime Minister Netanyahu alluded there's more to come.
We work tirelessly to return all of our hostages. We do this in two main ways, through negotiations and rescue operations. Both ways together require our military presence on the ground and unceasing military pressure on Hamas.
The pressure is still being applied throughout Gaza and now on mediators who haven't given up on reaching a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. With this latest rescue, there are still an estimated 108 hostages being held in Gaza, some living, some believed to be dead. Many of their families have been spending a lot of time protesting and pushing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to make a deal and bring them all home now.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Coming up on 5:46 now on this Wednesday morning. We're going to start with the future track, talk about some things that are on the horizon for us. And that includes cooler temperatures and rain. Not today, at least not with the cooler temperatures, but we're going to get there. We're looking at mostly clear to partly cloudy skies as we go through our Wednesday. By the late afternoon, early evening, at the heating of the day, we could see a couple of isolated showers or storms, but as you can see on future track, majority of us, unfortunately, will remain dry. We certainly need some rain, but there's some good news on that front as well. That pun was unintended, but there is a cold front and it will bring rain. Okay, you guys get where we're going. It's too early in the morning to be that funny. All right, we head into our Thursday. Another similar situation. We'll have those mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. Could see a few isolated pop-up showers or thunderstorms. You can see that slightly better chances of these as we head into our Thursday on the future track. Still, a lot of us will be dry, but then that will change as we head into the overnight hours and early Friday morning as that front approaches, and you can see right where it is with that wind shift line. It's going to bring the opportunity for some scattered showers and thunderstorms through the day on Friday. So something to keep in mind on Friday. This is going to be a chance for storms through the majority of the day. However, they're going to be on again, off again storms through the majority of the day. As you see, we get some pauses, and then we'll see redevelopment of additional showers and storms on the backside of this front because it kind of takes its time rolling through the area as well. And those will continue Friday night into our Saturday as well. We could have a few additional scattered showers and storms on our Saturday. Now, the front, of course, is also going to bring in some cooler weather. It's still summertime. It's not going to be a cold front, but it is going to bring us cooler temperatures. Today, though, Still a moderate to major heat risk out there, and that will carry into our Thursday. But by Friday, with the rain, the clouds, and that front rolling through, our heat risk drops significantly into the minor category for most of us around the area. And the minor category will carry over to Saturday and Sunday. So we're going to be doing considerably better. And then as we head into Monday and then into Tuesday, take a look at that. Well, that's a color we don't see very often on this particular map. It's little to no risk for heat issues in the 4 states, which is going to be fantastic. But we still have to get through at least the next couple of days, and we could still see those heat index values up there again today. Got a few clouds outside. Otherwise, it is 73 in Joplin. We got a slight south breeze at about 3 miles an hour. Around the area, temperatures, big improvements for many of us. I mean, Iola at this point, honestly, you're about 10 degrees cooler now than you were 24 hours ago. Because you and Yates Center and Chanute were all in the upper 70s, pushing pretty close to 80 degrees yesterday morning. As you can see, temperatures at or just a little above average, upper 60s and low 70s to start the day. Well, those partly cloudy skies through the morning hours and be about the upper 80s by 11 o'clock. Highs today, mid 90s out there. Heat index values easily approaching 100 again. And that again will be the case on Thursday. Thursday's that interesting situation where we'll have that chance for pop-up storms ahead of the front from the heating of the day. And then as that front pushes through late night into Friday, well, that's when we'll see better thunderstorm chances, more organized thunderstorm chances. They'll be scattered through the day on Friday, mid 80s, scattered storms on Saturday. Not bad on Sunday, a little warmer, but still technically below average. Our average high settling down to about 88, 89. So through the Labor Day weekend, the second half of it looks pretty good. Mid 80s out there, mid 80s heading into next week as well. So much more comfortable temperatures and a few more rain chances toward the end of next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, scientists in the Midwest are all a Twitter after an incredibly well-preserved prehistoric mastodon skull was found in a muddy Iowa creek. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Watch a monstrous prehistoric mastodon skull get carefully plucked from the muck in an Iowa creek bed. Following the find of a fossilized femur bone, a team of archaeologists visited the area and discovered the enormous skull, complete with partial tusks, kicking off a painstaking 12-day excavation project.
We dug down through the sand layer that you can see into this material below. That vegetation we were able to then get a radiocarbon date on. That corrected comes out to 13,600 years ago.
The dig was rife with challenges, from the low-lying area's difficult accessibility to flash flooding concerns, but the team said locals donated resources and equipment to help the project along, and they were able to carefully remove the specimen without incident. Now, at the University of Iowa, the skull of the mastodon, which the team has named Dolly, waits with more pieces of this as-yet unfinished prehistoric puzzle. Not prehistoric by any stretch, but definitely repping the old school is this fantastic fleet of farming tractors in Nebraska, some of which date all the way back to 1939. The impressive collection, which also includes more modern machinery, was put on display to celebrate the 80th birthday of owner Wayne Dreesen, who started farming right out of high school and in the time since has not only collected an impressive 51 tractors, but also his own fleet of 4 generations of family farmers. Finally, another lavish lawn collection, this one in Pennsylvania, is a handmade ode to fervent fandom. Chris Clavoon loves everything sci-fi, from Star Wars to Wall-E to Doctor Who, and it shows. When they aren't headlining conventions and parades, his handmade collection of fictitious vehicles and characters are displayed proudly for all to see right in front of his home. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
A pretty impressive collection there. Probably really cool to see up close. Stick around. We'll be right back. Well, 7-Eleven teams up with the famous punk rock band to give fans a shot at 711 days of free coffee. To honor 60 years of the convenience chain and celebrate the 30th anniversary of Green Day's breakout album Dookie, the business and band have come together to create an exclusive anniversary blend of the band's coffee, Punk Bunny. But that's not all. Today, the first 50 fans who show up to a New York City 7-Eleven get the custom semi-permanent Punk Bunny and 7-Eleven logo tattooed on them. Will be eligible to receive free coffee from the chain for 711 days. The special edition anniversary blend will be for sale at 7-Eleven, Speedway, and Stripe stores. Well, if you love a glass of wine, and red in particular, today is your day. That's because it's National Red Wine Day. Now, there are several varieties to enjoy, whether it's Merlot, Pinot Noir, Shiraz, or Cabernet Sauvignon. Varietals of a red wine produce ruby reds on the color spectrum to ambers and browns. Red wines also pair well with many foods, including red meats, some fish, and pasta dishes, and of course chocolate. And if you drink, just remember to do so responsibly.
I really could have done with that first story about Green Day's breakout album being 30 years ago. I really could have gone my whole Wednesday without being, feeling older than what I already am. My gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, for those of us who want to feel young again, you'll want to stay indoors where the air conditioning is cool. If you ever saw the movie Folks with Tom Selleck, Don Amici, goes down to his parents in Florida, and they say, they keep him in cold storage is what the cab driver says down there. And that's what you're going to want to do today as well. It's going to be another hot one. Partly cloudy skies, upper 80s by 11, highs into the mid 90s. A few isolated pop-up showers or storms. Most of us dry, but the better window between about 2 and 7. Of all those heat index values approaching close to 100 degrees again today, so we got a big deal with that. Mostly clear skies later this evening into the overnight once again, back in the low 70s. We're going to hold on to the heat for one more day. More pop-up storms tomorrow. Cold front brings us storms on Friday and into Saturday. Temperatures falling back into the mid 80s. That's checking your forecast. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.